Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. I am doing a little swatching and organizing at the moment, and so I thought I would just put this on record and see what you guys think. This is a new product to me. It's not new in the industry. I'm not sure how well it is known in scrapbooking or anything like that, but since I do mixed media, I wanted to give it a try. And as you probably know, if you watch my channel, I tried the Lindy's Magicals. I like the flat ones. The shimmery ones, they even though they say they have a fixative in them, the shimmer comes off of my hands, and I don't like that. That's something that is like kind of almost a deal breaker for me. I do have some products that do that, but I purchased them long before I ever knew they did that. And so I basically didn't buy any more. I have one package of the flat ones, and then MK had mentioned this product to me, and we were both really interested in it, so I went ahead and picked some up. I actually picked up a few for her as well, or on her behalf. I mean, I didn't buy them for her, she bought them. But they're called Infusion Inks from PaperArtsy. So what they are is they've got the pigment, and then they've got some walnut stain crystals in it, and I guess the longer you leave them wet, the more the brown appears, is my understanding of it. So I basically just did this one. It is just powder in a bottle, it's not wet, so you apply however much you want. The interesting thing is when you open the bottle's wide open, and it barely takes any powder to get any pigment because it's super highly pigmented. So most people that I've seen online, they poke a little hole in the top of this silver cap here, and then they just sprinkle it. I don't know, I wasn't really sure about doing that because I do travel sometimes, and then I'm like, do I just tape it shut? What do I do? So I found a lady online who came up with a different way of doing it, because she's like me and didn't really want to leave it that way. So she pulled out this little foam piece, and I'm going to try this. I did it on the first one, on the raspberry one, and it took me several tries. We'll see if I do any better on this one. But basically she cut some little slits in it so that it can bend in, make it like a cup. And I don't know, maybe I went too far in with the other one, so I'm not going in as far with this one. And then she pierced it right in the center. Let's see if I can do that from afar, because I am standing up while I'm talking to you, so I can be close to the camera. Pierced it in the center, and I went all the way in. Now she had a retractable piercer, so she could easily push it in. I do not have a retractable piercer, so I'm just using the end of my Muji pen, and we'll see if this goes any better for me on round 2. So the key is not to press too hard so that it goes in too far. Yep, see, I pressed too hard. And it doesn't go in evenly. So let's try that again. See if I can do it a little bit. Nope. My goodness, this is probably going to be like the bane of my existence for a little while here, trying to get these little things in here. There's got to be a better way to do this. I'm curious if any of you guys can think of a better way to do this. Maybe I will have to go to doing just the tins, because most people just take this piece out and they use the lid and poke a hole in it. I'm trying to be really careful, but since it doesn't want to go in evenly, and I don't think it's how I cut the thing, because they all seem to be cut pretty consistently. I don't know. We might be here all night just watching me do this. Nope. I got this one in. You can see it's in. I mean, it's not pretty or anything, but it does work. I do fear that if it ever comes out like all the way, then I'm going to be up a creek. When I go to pour it, it'll probably just pour everywhere. Okay, so I just flipped that one over and tried it again. Maybe this is not the best idea. I have no idea. Okay. Goodness sakes. I wonder if I can just do it with my finger. Nope, can't do it with my fingers either. These things are really slippery. It's like I almost get it, and then it pops in. I got it in there, but how long is that going to really hold? I don't know. and it's not in there perfectly, but let's try it and see if it actually works. There's a little bit of an opening. I don't know. I feel like it's not going to be a great solution, but it was worth trying because, see, it's just going to pop right out. It was a good thought because the idea was there, because otherwise I'm just going to pop a hole in that and get rid of this anyway. So it was worth a try, right? I almost wonder if I could just like do it with a glue dot, like a foam, like one of these guys, you know, and stick it to the top here. But then is that gonna like mess up? Like, I feel like that's a better solution, only it's gonna suck up all the powder, right? But does that really matter if it's just a little bit? I don't know. That's something to think about. Okay, let's see if we can powder tool just the center of it off. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even know what I'm doing. If I apply a little of powder to here, will this still stay on there? I mean, these are pretty big glue dots, but I still need to poke the hole in it, right? Oh, that's a big hole. I need to get my smaller piercer out for that. So I feel like that could work. And then maybe I just use my powder tool to take the adhesive off the top. Let's see how it works. This is called Olive Tree. So I'm just gonna write Olive Tree Infusion. Let me move these out of the way so I don't make a big mess out of those. Okay, you guys see how much powder I put on there? It's a minuscule amount. But look how pretty that is. It's got the blue in it. You can definitely see the brown of the walnut. I think if you let it sit there longer and longer, it gets, well, this one might be a hard one to tell anyway because it is olive, and olive definitely has kind of like the brown undertones in it. So I'm gonna spray a little bit more ink there just to let it run and see what we get. I do like that, and I do like this idea of doing this better. Let me see if I can take the topper off of that. I probably should have done the powder first instead of over the top, but I think that's gonna work. I mean, worst case, it gets stuck in the lid and I end up doing the same thing, right? So maybe I'm gonna do that. All right, let's do it. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a pile of powder right here. I'm going to pick it up with my paintbrush and just paint it on the middle here so I don't maybe get as much of the infusion ink on the middle of it. And again, I should have poked my hole here. I don't know if I want to go as deep as I did, but maybe not. Maybe I'll poke the holes while it's still on the paper. Okay, this one is called Royal Blood. Let's see how this works. And once again, I should have done my powder tool right up front. Whoa. Ha, the lid is coming off, or my powder tool was open. So that was not great, but that's okay. We'll make it work. Okay, let's go ahead and swatch this one. This one's called Royal Blood. I will say this is a lot easier than sticking those little things down in the center, but let's see how this works. You guys, just the tiniest bit. I don't know if you can see how much is on there. It's not much. but we're gonna go ahead and spray it and see what happens. Ooh, that's pretty. I'm gonna add just a little bit more. Kind of a brownie blue. That's kind of cool. I'm gonna let that sit to the side. Clean up there. Let's put that pen away because we don't need that. The lid on here. I'm just gonna go back and see how my olive tree is doing. Oh, it's pretty good. It's holding up. It's not stuck to the inside of the lid at all. Wrap some more of that around there. Maybe that'll actually hold. We'll see. Time will tell. Like I said, worst case, I end up with a little hole in the top like everyone else. I think I'm just going to leave that little foamy thing in there because I don't really need to take it out. I'm getting this set up for the next few, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, do that. Put some of that just around the center, but not around the edge. Pull that guy off. Stick it right there. Okay. We'll see how this one works. This one is called Sunset Beach. Okay, let's see how we do on. I do like that it keeps the powder from coming out very fast. Ooh, that's beautiful. That's really pretty. A lot of pigment for just a tiny bit of powder, you guys. So that's gorgeous. I don't know if you can set that aside. We're just going to keep on going. I might do this one again just to see, because obviously I sprayed a lot more water on there. I want to see what it does without that much water on it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Okay. This one is called Magenta. I suppose I could just open that up and dip into it, but that might be an easier solution, is just to unscrew the top, but I feel like I'd probably make a huge mess if I did. That's just the nature of me. Very messy when it comes to that kind of stuff. Okay. This one is Magenta. Let's go ahead and write that down. Doesn't take much, but you can see what I've got on there. That's so pretty. I love that. Okay. You can tell that it gets kind of everywhere when you spray it, but that's okay. Most of these things do. Okay, this one's called Green Man. I feel like this hole is not very open, but it really is. I think these are going to be really fun to play with. A lot different than some of the other stuff. They're similar to the Nouveau shimmer powders or the Lindy's Magicals. If you have Ken Oliver's Color Burst, similar to that as well, but I don't think any of those actually have the walnut stain in them like this does. So this is a little bit more of a distressed look, which works really well for me because I have a lot of really bright colors in like the dilutions and that kind of stuff. So this is just gonna like round out my stash of, sorry, trying to make sure I spell this right. Not that green and man is very hard to spell, but I feel like it's gonna round out my stash of kind of more distressed kind of stuff, a different kind of a look for it, I guess. Ooh, I really like that. That's beautiful. It's got some blues, it's got the brown, it's got the green. That's kind of cool looking. Okay, I'm gonna poke holes in a few more of these. I have 6 more to go, so I'll go with a little bigger because it's foam. It's tending to like close that back up on itself just a little bit. Okay. I'm really just trying to get that around the center so it doesn't hinder it from sticking to the lip of the bottle. And it's just amazing that these actually fit perfectly. They're the exact size to fit on the lip of that bottle. I don't think I could have planned that better. Like even if I measured it and tried to buy them, it wouldn't have worked out. So we'll see how this works over time. I don't think they'll be very hard to remove if it needed to remove it. Okay, this is black currant. So let's give this one a nice little tap and see what it does. Ooh, that one's really like, it doesn't want to come out. There we go. Ooh, that's pretty. That's gorgeous. Those are going to be fun to play with, you guys. All right. This one's called Terracotta. Make sure that hole's nice and big here. It's big, but it's not, I mean, as you just saw in the other one, I had to kind of open it up again. Guess I should have opened the bottle first. Okay. I'm curious to see what MK does to prep hers, or if she just puts the pin in the lid or what. I mean, that could work, but with traveling, then I'd have to go and close them all. I don't know. This one's Terracotta. Let me just write that down. I'm making sure I spelled it right. I don't write terracotta very often. Ooh, that's a pretty orange. That's really pretty. That's going to be fun for fall. I thought it would be a lot closer to Sunset Beach, but the Sunset Beach is definitely darker. You can see Sunset Beach in terracotta. So pretty fun. That's going to be black. We'll do that one last. This one's Orange County, so this one is going to be another orange. We'll see how that one looks. Okay. See how this one is. Now we've got really pumpkin-y. That's really pretty too. So here's the terracotta, here's the orange county, and then we go to Sunset Beach. So three different shades. Now I didn't get, the place that I ordered them from did not have the yellows in stock, so I didn't get any yellows. So kind of waited before I order them from some other place. Was like, let me make sure I like them first, which I'm kind of invested now before I even made sure I liked them. But, you know, it is what it is. I have no excuse. But the company I bought them from was going out of business, and so they had a sale on quite a few things, and I got free shipping if I got to a certain amount. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it because I'm already ordering. And they're not very expensive. I think they were $3.99 each, which, you know, that's not super pricey in the world of mixed media for what you're getting, because these are going to last a long time. There's quite a bit of powder in there. I mean, they're just a little bit below the label as far as how full they are. And they are actually two different styles of bottles. This, I think, I'm not going to tell you which one was the older bottle, but they have two different bottle styles. So I'm not sure which one's the new style versus the old style, but you know, you're getting about up to here. I don't know if you can see that, up to about where it says colored stains. That's a lot of pigment when you consider how much little pigment I'm putting on here to get quite a reaction. This one is called Rocky Road, and I really don't know what to expect with this one. I don't know if it's brown. I don't know if it's orange. It looks kind of an orangey brown, almost like cocoa powder in the bottle. So we are going to find out. I would rather have a very low flow and have to tap extra times than to have a lot come out. And yeah, oh gosh, that's so pretty. So that is the Rocky Road. It does have a little blue and a little pink in it, but it really is a nice orangey brown. I think that's beautiful. I'll lay them all out here when we get done swatching. And we're almost done. We just have two more to go. This one is called, I thought I already did Royal Blood. This is Royal Blood. I thought I already did this one. Yes, I did. I didn't do this one. This one's called Violet Storm. Not violent, violet, like the color. I might re-swatch that other blue one though, just to make sure it's the color that, because I added a ton of water to it. Actually spraying with my least favorite sprayer for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why I picked this one. This is the Distress Sprayer from Tim Holtz, and it makes a really nice fine mist, but it tends to, like, I don't know what it is in my hand. It wants to come unscrewed all the time in the middle of spraying. It's something about how I hold it, so I don't know why I'm using it. It does have a finer mist than I think my other 2 or 3 sprayers have. This one is called Violet Storm. And I know I already told you that, but I was just saying it for myself so I could write it down. That's got some nice little flow to it. And it's actually, I don't actually have my favorite one out here, but this one has a little softer. Ooh, oh my goodness. This might be my favorite one. That's so pretty. Oh, that's gorgeous. Yeah, that's my favorite one so far. Okay. And then we're to Black Knight, which I'm assuming is just black, but who knows? Maybe there's a surprise in there. We're about to find out. So all of my little swatches will go into my swatch book, which has pretty much all my sprays, all my inks, and everything in it. I will show it to you really quickly before I close out this video. It does take me a long time to rearrange it when I add stuff, so I've started leaving gaps in between the different things. Like the inks are all in one area, the sprays are all in one area, the watercolor type items are all in one area, but I've been leaving gaps between, say, like the pink inks, the red inks, the orange inks, the yellow inks. Every time I switch colors, I am leaving a gap so I can add different swatches as I get them. And it's kind of a pain in the butt to move them all around, but I know a lot of people have them on the little rings. I don't like them on the rings because they take up a lot more room, and then I feel like I need a ring, like a ring for the inks and a ring for this and a ring for that, and I don't really have that much. I don't know. I like looking at them at a whole and not having to flip through, I guess, is what it really comes down to. Okay, this is Black Knight. Ooh, that's pretty. That's not what I expected at all. It's like a brownie black. That's really pretty though. Okay. That's gorgeous. Okay, I'm gonna do Royal Blood one more time, and we're gonna see what it does. And we'll see if what kind of result we get with it. Oh, and see, this is what I was wondering, if that little guy would get stuck to this little guy and they'd have a little relationship inside the bottle and we'd have a problem. Hopefully not, but we'll see. I am sticking that back in there just to see. Okay, and I think I'm gonna spray it with this one. Okay, I sprayed it a lot, but not as much as before. And it definitely has blue in it, but it's actually pretty close to this one. It's got a lot of brown in it. Not what I expected for that one, but it's still pretty. I do like it. But here's what it looked like on the other one when I kind of oversaturated it with water and I didn't have as much pigment on it. It's kind of a learning experience as you go, how much pigment you need to put out there. But it does definitely have the blue undertones in it, so that's pretty. So here, I'll kind of hold up the two swatches so you can see the difference. It's not a super big difference, but you can see the blue down in here. And this one doesn't have the blue. So I'm going to toss this one since it's not a very good representation. I might actually swatch it a third time just to make sure I'm getting a good representation of it. But man, I do really like them. This one is by far my favorite. So I'm going to lay them all out here. Let's move this aside. And I'll wipe that up. So we've got magenta, raspberry. Those are fairly similar. This does have some blue specks in it. This is blackcurrant, which is a little bit more towards the red side, where this is more pinky. Olive tree and green man. Those are very similar. Would I recommend getting both? Probably not, but you know, I didn't know, so. Rocky Road. So there they all are. I think these two are my favorite, but I kind of lean towards those colors anyway. As you can tell, my desk has this color on it. It's more wine and this is more pink. So, and I love this one. I don't know. If I had to say, if I had to tell you to pick, I would probably say keep those. I do like the Sunset Beach. I'd probably take this one out and just go with, because this is kind of in between the two. So I would say probably just do those two. I'd probably say don't do the raspberry because it's kind of in between these two. And I would do probably that. And then this one, a jury's still out on. I'm gonna play with this one more to see what the blue looks like. But if I had to make a recommendation that out of the colors that I have, that's probably the ones I would purchase. And you know, you could definitely, like if they didn't have the olive tree and they had Green Man in stock, just swap the two. They are very similar. I don't think there's a whole lot of difference there. Maybe this one has more blue in it than that one, but I think a lot of that's hit and miss on what comes out of the bottle, right? But yeah, I would definitely say get this one. So that is the infusions from PaperArtsy, and I will probably pick up a yellow, at least one of the yellows I think they have. They also have one called Scarlet, which MK got, so I'll wait till she swatches hers and see what she thinks of them. Here is my swatch book in case you're interested in seeing that. I do sometimes show it on my channel when I'm picking things out, but I don't always. So I always start with my inks, and the pink inks are first. And as you can see here, I've kind of like started leaving spaces in between, but I can see kind of all of the oranges in one glance. I can see most of the pinks, I can see all the reds, and then I flip and I can go, oh, there's all the yellows, and then we get into kind of the greens, but I've left some spaces in between. Maybe not enough spaces, but I go from like these, I don't know. So it's easier to move around. It was probably a good spot to stop because otherwise I started having to flip over to the next side. Last time I was adding stuff and I was just like, okay, I'm so done adding things. But sometimes there's one spot because there is potentially another color that I haven't swatched. Like here, the blueprint sketch Distress Oxide has not been swatched. Neither has Shaded Lilac. I don't actually know if I have either one of those colors. But when I printed them out, these were printed out from Jennifer McGuire. She had all of these all ready to go. And then she had the Catherine Poolers also, but then Catherine Pooler added a bunch more. So here they are. I've added them. Apparently I have not swatched that one, or it's sitting in my in my pile of things that are swatched that need to get added. This is my pile. They need to be cut down. These ones with the hole are inks or sprays because I punch a hole and that's on the top of the lid, just like this. It's a 5/8 punch, and I'll just cut it down to 2x2. So these are 2x2 strips, but they're a little bigger because I left spots to pull the top of the bottle swatch out of. So here is just more and more inks, and then this gets into shimmers. This is my Gonzai Tombi watercolors. These are the Ecoline watercolors. I do have some Jane Davenport watercolor pens that I rarely ever use, but they're in here also just in case. These ones I don't have to add to quite as often, so you can see there's no spaces in between because I haven't added anything for a while in there. And then I will be adding to sprays. These are sprays, and that's what mostly a lot of those ones that I just showed you in my hand were. So those will go in here. These will probably go into the watercolors because they are similar to a watercolor. You could tap this off into a tray and pick up the pigment on your paintbrush. So those will go into the watercolor area over here, I believe, unless I just start a separate area for things that are powdered. I don't know. Haven't figured that out yet. But that is it, you guys. You can see I've just gone through and I had forgotten to write down the color on the front. I wrote it on the back, but with the Dina Wakley's, because they are acrylic based, it would cover up my writing anyway. So yeah, so I just broke out my P-Touch labeler and started labeling. And they're not even in the same font because sometimes my husband uses it. He changes the font and then I end up with a huge font and I'm too lazy to change it. Yeah, so, but it works for me and it only takes up this much room and I can see everything. And sometimes that's what I need because when you're doing mixed media, you can do watercolor a lot of different ways. Like I can pick any of these pigments out of the spray bottle and use it as a watercolor. I can use a watercolor as a watercolor. I can use an ink as a watercolor by smooshing it down. So I don't necessarily want to have to go to a ring and look at all of the yellows on the ring and then grab the other ring and look at all the yellows on that ring. It just seems too confusing. And to put all of these on a ring, I think my ring would have to be like this big. So I don't know. Anyway, that's it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm not going to make you sit through me putting these away. They have to dry anyway. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys again in another video real soon. Bye.